Boker Tov. Today's daf is Daf Pei Ches in Baba Kama, as we learn from Achenu Kol Beis Yisrael and Asuna Batzara V'Shivya. Yesterday's Mishnah on Pei Zayin said that if a person damages, injures an Eved Kanani, that's a half-Jewish slave that belongs to somebody, you chayav in all 5 tashlum that you have to pay for a person injuring another person, which is Nezek Tzari, B'Sheves, and Boshes. Rabbi Yehuda says we don't pass. Rabbi Yehuda says Avadim don't have boshes. What's the reason for Rabbi Yehuda's reasoning? So the Gemara said, what's his tom? The Gemara started to say Rabbi Yehuda holds that the pasuk talks about damages as kinatza anashim yachtav ish v'achiv mishesh la'ach v'yasev v'shem la'ach. Brother, an Eved is not really a brother of yours. Rabbanan say no. He has mitzvahs like an Eved Kanani has mitzvahs like a woman, so he has mitzvahs, and therefore he is included in all the Nezek Sari B'Sheves and Boshes, including Boshes. The Gemara went back and forth on Daf Pei Ches, the beginning of Pei Ches, which we covered yesterday, and said, well, what do you mean? Why wouldn't an Eved, if he's Rabbanan, if he is a brother, couldn't he be a king, and etc. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, if he's not a brother, then you shouldn't be chayav edim zom, etc. The Gemara gave different psukim. The Gemara said, well, the Gemara came out that where we left off was Gemara said if indeed that he is not according to Rabbi Yehuda that he's not a brother, so or according to Rabbanan that he is a brother, then he should be roy to give edus. The Gemara said the Gemara said like this: why el matul Rabbanan ye'evet kashel edus? If according to Rabbanan that he is considered your brother, like a brother, a Jewish brother, why shouldn't he be good for Edus? Because it said he is a brother. So Ula said, Amar Ula lo matzas Edus lo matzas Amar asi b'kal v'chol isha. A woman who's royal l'vavakal can marry a Jewish person. It's possible Edus. Eved that's not royal l'kal cannot an Eved Kanani cannot marry a Jewish person, and it is possible Edus. This is where we left off yesterday. So the Gemara then said, well, Mali Isha Shekain Ein Roy Lamila. A woman is different. Why? Because she's not in the parsha of Mila at all. She's not. She can't have a bris Mila. So therefore, she's not. You can't learn a kavachomer from Isha to an Eved. If an Isha cannot be a witness in court, certainly an Eved Kanani cannot, because we said because she's Lari Lo Vakal and an Eved Kanani cannot. Yes, but Isha has a different disqualification because she's not roy lo mila, whereas an Eved has mila. In fact, that's the only way it becomes a full Eved Kanani is by getting mila. Okay, so look at cotton. Cotton has mila and still is pasul edus. Can't be an aid if he's a cotton. The Gemara says malu cotton she'ein b'mitzvahs. We're still we just started here about halfway down on the page. If you're coming in now, malu cotton she'ein b'mitzvahs. What about a cotton? Who is not roy to do mitzvahs? He doesn't have mitzvahs. Tomer be'eved shuv mitzvahs. An Eved has mitzvahs like a woman. Isha tachiach. Look at a woman. A woman has mitzvahs. She has mitzvahs. Some psuletus. I learned from the common denominator of cotton and Isha. Isha has mitzvahs, but what she's not, and she's roy level kal, but she's still not. She's puzzled for edus. And if you say that, well, she doesn't have Mila, well, a cotton has Mila, even though he doesn't have mitzvahs. So between the two of them, cotton and Isha, there are mitzvahs and the roy love of a kal, right? And there is Mila by a cotton. So from common denominator, we say, and they're both postulated. They have some mitzvahs, not all mitzvahs. A cotton has a mitzvah of Mila, but he doesn't have other mitzvahs, and the mitzvah at least is performed on him. A woman has mitzvahs. Losa saying mitzvah say shaloas man grama. So same thing with that, and their apostle give edus. I'll bring an Eved also shein b'chol mitzvahs apostle edus. I'll bring an example from an Eved Kanani also. Learn out from the combination of Isha and Katan who have partial mitzvahs and their apostle edus. So I'll say Eved Kanani who also has partial mitzvahs is apostle edus. The Gemara says no. Malsar shevashen shekain ena ish. Both of them, both the Katan and the Isha, are not an adult Jewish male. They're not an ish. He is an adult Jewish male. I'm not 100% Jewish, but he is an adult Jewish male. He's a man. He's bar mitzvah, so he should be chai, and therefore maybe he should be. He is capable of edus. So according to the Rabbanan, who say that if you injure an Eved Kanani, it's just like you injure a Jew, and you have to pay all 5 things necessary for Boshes. So maybe an Eved Kanani can give Edus too. Ella takes me Gazlan. Look at a Gazlan. A Gazlan who is a confirmed Gazlan. He's a Edus found, and he's possible Edus. Gazlan should give Master Gomerlo. By Gazlan, the reason why he can't give Edus is because his actions caused him to be disqualified. Tomer be'Eved, Shem Master Gomerlo. By an Eved, it might be a tzaddik. He might be a perfectly good person, didn't do any Averis. But it's not his masim which caused him to be disqualified. It's his status. So learn out from Gazlan, the combination of Gazlan and either woman or katan. Either way, if you say, before we said you can't learn out from the combination of katan and woman and isha because they're not a man. Well, here you have a man. A Gazlan is a man. And his masim caused him to be disqualified. With the isha and the katan, their masim that caused him disqualified. In both cases, you have a combination. So either way, you have a combination of Gazlan, let's say, and isha. And they're both pasul le'edus. So I'll say the same thing, that an Eved Kanani is also pasul for edus. And what do you mean by Gazlan? Gazlan is not he can't do this mitzvah of edus. That's what he's pasul for. That they're not careful. They don't have to do all mitzvahs. One, because he's a Rasha, so he doesn't do all mitzvahs. He's a Gazlan and etc. And the woman, because she's not commanded to do mitzvahs. But the point is that they don't have all the mitzvahs, and the same thing by a Kanani, that he doesn't have all mitzvahs. He only has mitzvahs like a woman, and therefore he's also pasul le'edus. Mar Brei Ravino. So that's one way to learn. Even according to Rabbanim, say that Eved Kanani is like your brother, but that's one way to learn why an Eved Kanani is disqualified from being a witness in court. Mar Brei Ravino Mer I'll tell you this pasuk. Pasuk is lo yumsu avos habanim ubanim lo yumsu avosam. What does that mean? The Pashut Pshat is lo yumsu avos habanim that sons cannot testify against their fathers, and their fathers can't testify against them. Okay, she'ein lohem, but he darshans it this way. It doesn't say lo yumsu avos al b'neihem, that they will not be that you can't punish the fathers. In other words, they will not be put to death based on the testimony of their own sons. It doesn't say that. It says al banim in general on sons. What does it mean? Lo yumsu al pi avos she'ein lam chayes banim. They should not be killed. In other words, you can't testify against fathers or people who don't have the lineage of children, which is an Eved. An Eved has no lineage above or below. It is he's considered like an animal, like a chamor. They have no chayas. While they're goyim, they are related to their father, who's a goy. Rashi points out, and when they're Jewish, if they're fully Jews, let's say he's a gerus, we'll see a gerus children are considered his children, but not his father. So, but an Eved Kanani is an Eved. He has no lineage above or below, as we'll see. So it says, so what does it mean, that fathers or people, Jewish people, should not be killed through somebody who doesn't have a chayes upon him, whose children are not connected to him by a lineage. In other words, there is no family relationship between him and his children, and that's an Eved Kanani. That's what so that's how you know that an Eved Kanani cannot testify, because it says you can't put somebody to death or testify against them through somebody who has no chayes upon him, whose children are not related to him. If you just translate it the regular way, which means that their own sons can't testify against, a son cannot testify against his own father, the father should not be killed through their own children. My banim, why did I say banim in general? Why did you change it to banim? It means they shouldn't be killed. Means through fathers who have no, through people, through adults who have no lineage with their children, because they're avodim, and their children are whoever they are. If they're married to a shifra, then their children belong to the shifra, not related to the father. Elameata, obviously, biologically they're related, but halachically, legally, they're not related. Elameata, if that's the case, what does that mean? And sons should not be killed through their fathers. You're going to say also that it means that you can't kill somebody through children, meaning through sons who have no chayes avos, because you have no lineage to their father. That's because you're saying ubanim lo yimsu al avos, means you shouldn't be killed through banim that don't have lineage to their father. That would be a ger. Ela ger hachanami the pasuk. So that's because a ger can't be kosher. A ger who's a kosher Jew, 100% Jewish. According to that, he can't be an aid, because if you darshan lo yimsu ubanim lo yimsu al avos, you're darshaning, and you shouldn't kill somebody, testify against somebody through people, children who don't have a father, who doesn't have a father, a ger. If that's the case, a ger can't be an A. You compare. A ger has no lineage to his father, but he has kids to his son. After he's a ger, he has children. The children are his children. There's a difference between them, obviously. An Eved Kanani has no relationship with his father, no legal relationship with his father, no lineage to the father or to his son. A ger has lineage to his son. Isaac like ger pasolates, because if you tell me that ger would also be pasolatus, Hashem should say, Lo yumsu avos al b'neim. That's the pashup shot. You shouldn't kill fathers through their own sons. Look at a son shouldn't testify against his father. And then the last pasuk should be like it's because that language can indicate both ideas. Trey. They shouldn't kill children through the testimony of the father. Father can't testify against the son. The idach and the other drush is lo yimso al pi banim she'elam chayes avos. If it means ger, so say if it means to exclude a ger, say you shouldn't kill somebody through children who don't, or through people. But it means son, doesn't mean not bar mitzvah. It just means through people she'em chayes avos who have no relationship with their father, meaning they're like a ger. Let it say that. And Eved, I'll say from Eved, I'll learn after Mikal v'chomer. I'll learn a ger. Ma ger the lamal who en chayes avos lamati yesh chayes a ger who has a relationship with his sons. He just has a relationship with his father. Above, he doesn't have a relationship, but he has below with his children. He's still pasalated. So Eved she'em chayes lo lamal v'lamata, and it didn't should pasalated. Certainly would say that. In other words, if the halacha would be that a ger can also not give testimony, so say the pasuk in a way we should indicate that drasha. You shouldn't kill people through. Nobody should be testified against by a person who has no relationship with his father, cannot testify. That would include a ger, and I'll say kal v'chomer and Eved has no relationship with his father or with his son. Didn't say b'neiim. It says leivas al banim. The mashmal yimsu al pi avos she'enam chayis ban, which indicates again. It didn't say lo yimsu avos al b'neihem. It said it was al banim. Why did it change that lashon to banim? To tell me that it means don't kill anybody by a testimony of a person who has no relationship with his kids, which is an Eved. Shema mina Eved ain't she'en l'chayis l'lamav l'lamata hu the apostles. But a ger, since he has a relationship with his son legally, koshelatus. If that's the case, once you say la yumsu abos albanim, meaning nobody can give testimony if they are a person who has no relationship with his son, indicating an Eved. So then already you could say the sefer could say saying children shouldn't be killed through their own father. Which is really, it says abosam, but it's the same as doesn't say abosehem, their father. It's abosam on general on father. Which could indicate don't kill anybody through testimony of people who have no relationship with their father, which could include a ger. No, the mashmalim himself pibanim she'elam chayes which being ger. That's already I do kasalim so asabanim kasavnami banim themselves. That's already a lashon because since he said so it says or but it doesn't mean to say it doesn't mean to exclude a ger, because if it would exclude a ger, we should just talk about a ger and then I'll know an Eved kal v'chomer. So since it doesn't say that, it's only including an Eved Kanani. So we have two drushes. How do we know that even according to Rabbanan who say that an Eved Kanani, if you heard an Eved Kanani, you're chayav and all the nazik, and that's Ksharim b'Shavas and Boshes. So why? Because he's considered your brother. So why can't he give Eidus if he's your brother? The answer is to learn from a combination of Gazlan and Isha that they do partial mitzvahs. Gazlan doesn't do partial mitzvahs voluntarily because he's a Rasha and he can't give Eidus. That's already a halacha that he can't but he's a Rasha. He doesn't do all mitzvahs, and a woman doesn't have mitzvahs. The same thing. And if a Kenai doesn't have all mitzvahs, he's also disqualified from being an Eid or from this Rasha of lo yimsu avos albanim, meaning nobody should be killed, meaning nobody should be testified against by somebody who doesn't have a relationship with their son, which means an Eved Kanani. Now the Gemara goes on. The Mishnah said if you do damage to them, you are chayiv to pay. But if they do damage to you, they're potter. So you know the story here. We're at the 2 lines from the bottom of the page on Peches Marav. Ime to Rav Shmuel Bar Abba Me'agrunya. the mother, Shmuel bar Abba's mother, she was from the Tana Gunya. She was married to Rabba. Shmuel bar Abba, Shmuel was the son. She was married to Rabba. Because now she had was something that she brought into the marriage, even after, let's say, after they got married, she had a great uncle that died and left her some stuff. That's not written into some that she's giving to the marriage and things that that the husband has to take care of and gives back to her eventually, or also obviously the ksub also indicates the obligations that a husband has to the wife. Okay, that's here we're talking about an nechse mulug, stuff that she got after it wasn't written in the ksub at all. That's stuff that he's entitled to use, the husband is entitled to use, but it really belongs to her. So it happened, she got these nechse mulug and she wrote them over to her son. She wrote over her. She wrote a shtar, a document, and giving over these assets, these nechse that her husband is entitled to use while they're married. But she gave them over to her son, Rav Shmuel bar Abba, brought her son after she died. But after she died, so she died first before the husband. Also, after she died, where I'm at base now. Also, Rav Shmuel bar Abba came to Rav Yomi. He went to Rav Yomi bar Abba. He went to Rav Yomi bar Abba. It doesn't say if that was a relationship because they're both bar Abba. Did he go to his brother? It wouldn't be right for his brother to paskin. I don't know if it's not clear. The wasn't paskin right. It is anyway. Maybe it was a different. Maybe it was a cousin. Who knows? Anyway, he went to Rav Yomi bar Abba was a posek. Ukmi benachse, and he gave the nechasim to this Shmuel bar Abba. In other words, even though the wife died, meaning Shmuel's mother died before the husband, in which case normally the halacha is the husband inherits his wife. According to most, that's the deraisa, husband inherits his wife. So even if she had nechse mulug, they would go to the husband if she died before him. But here, because she wrote him over to her son, so Rav Yirmiyah Paskin, the son gets them, Shmuel gets them. Also Rav Abba went, this was the father, his father, who was upset that the son got the assets, not him. Another family fight. Also, Rav Abba, Amar Milsa Kamerabim, said this, told the story over to Rav Hoshia. Also, Rav Hoshia went also Kamerabim. He went before Rav Yehuda. Amar Leim Rav Yisrael, Amar Shmuel, what Shmuel said. Listen carefully. This is not the same Shmuel. This is Shmuel. That's the halach of Shmuel Nadah, not Shmuel bar Abba. If a woman sold her nechse mulug, her assets that she got after the marriage started, not written in the ksuba, while her husband's alive, umesa, and she died, the Baal's entitled to them because this that she had them, but she wasn't entitled to sell them. So after she died, she sold them while her husband was alive, and then she died. Well, that's the case. The husband inherits them. The husband takes it away from the kuchas, take it away from the purchaser. So here also the idea here is that. He contradicted Rav Yirmiyah. Yirmiyah said you can keep it. No. The Shmuel's mother, Shmuel bar Abba's mother, gave it to him, right? But since she died, it went to the husband, went to his father, so she wasn't entitled to take it. That's when the Baal could take it away, but what she did is not done. So we have this machlokas here between Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba on the one hand, who gave it to Shmuel, and the quote of Rav Yehuda, who said no, it goes to the husband, to the father of Shmuel. I'm looking at Rav Yirmiyah. This is for Rav Yirmiyah. They told Rav Yirmiyah what Rav Yehuda had said, that the Rav Hoshia went to Rav Yehuda, and Rav Yehuda quoted Shmuel. That's the famous Shmuel as saying that the husband's entitled to Amalahu. I know a Mishnah. I know a Brisa. I don't know what you're saying, but I know a Brisa. That's not. Listen to this case. No, Lachramoso. A man has a son, and the son would normally inherit him, but he said, "Listen, I'm giving it to you. I'm giving it to you." And that you're going to be entitled to get it. My assets. You're going to get these assets. Lachar moso, and no. Lachar moso, ain a balyum. In other words, after I die, you're going to get these assets. Haben ain yicholim kor neishem b'shazav. The son can't sell it because the father's entitled to use it, right? The son, the father's still entitled to them. The father hasn't died yet. The father can't sell it. Mishum Shem Ksuvim Leben, because they're signed over to the son. Mocharav Mechurim, if the father has sold them, they're sold Ad Shemas until he dies. Why? Because the son's only going to get them at death when the father dies. Mocharav Ben, if the son sold them, Ein lo lokech Ad Shemasav. The son is really going to only get them after the father died. So if the son sold him while the father's alive, he's really selling him a future. He's saying, listen, after my father dies, then you're going to get them. So Machar Ben Ein Lo Lokech Ad Shem Asav. He Mayasav, but when the father dies, Mia is the Lokech gets it. The father died, the Lokech is not entitled to get it because he gave it to the son. Right? He says that even though the son died before the father said, you're going to get it after I die, and the son went and sold it. So he said, if the father sold it, it's not, you can't sell it because they're given over to the son. You can't sell it all. If the father did sell it, it's only sold until such time as the father dies. If the son sold it, the son can't sell it now because he only gets it later on. But when the father dies, the son does get it, and therefore his sale retroactively will be okay, even though the son's death preceded that of the father. The loss of the bed, it never got into the hands of the son anyway. Why? Goes like Omar. Listen to this. This is one of the three cases that we pass like Shlokish against Rav Yochanan. The Omar, he said, Loshna Beisa Ben B'chayav. No different if the son died while the father was alive. Again, the father gave it to the son, wrote it over to the son after he dies. But if the son died, even if the son died before the father died, the loss of the Ben never got it. Or if the father died before the son, and the son eventually did get it, the Ben came into hands again. Why? Why is that? Because this is the machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and Shlokish. This is what Rabbi Shlokish says. If the son sold it while the father was alive, and then the son died before the father, so the son never really took possession of it. Rabbi Yochanan doesn't get it. Why? Rabbi Shlokish does get it. This is the machlokes. Rabbi Yochanan doesn't get it. Why? When the Mishnah says that if the son sold it, doesn't get it until the father dies. When the father dies, the lokech gets it. The lo mesa ben b'chayiv. That's only when the son didn't die. The son's death did not precede out of the father. That's when the Ben got it. In other words, the son sold it. The father wrote it to me. After I die, you're going to get it. Then while they're both alive, the son sold it. Then, when the father died, the sale is valid retroactively because he sold it while the father was alive. Didn't take effect then. It takes effect at the time that the father died. That's when the son has the rights to sell it, so it's sold then. But if the son died before the father, it never got into the hands of the son because he died before the father. The loss of the day never got in the hands. So therefore, when the father dies, Lokech doesn't get it. Almik Savar, because Rabbi Yochanan holds Kinya Perski Kinya Guftami. What does it mean Kinya Perski Kinya Guftami? It belonged to the father, right? But when he gave it to the son. So he sold, when I die, you're going to get it. So what is the father's possession in it right now while the father's still alive? He has a Kenyan payers. He doesn't really own the property because he's already given it to the son to take effect at death. So all he has now is he's entitled to use it while he's alive. That Kenyan payers is like a Kenyan Guftami, and therefore the son can't sell it. If the son sells it and then the father dies, so at the time that he dies, it goes to the son, and the son had sold already. So the sale is effectively suspended until such time that the son takes possession of it. But if the son dies first, never took possession of it, the father really owned it. So why did the father own it? Because he had a Kenyan pass. He was entitled to use it. That's like Kenyan good for me. And the son wasn't entitled to sell it at all. So therefore, it's not like you could say it could take effect later. The son wasn't entitled to sell it. And therefore, it can't take effect at the death of the father if the son isn't there. And therefore, when the son sold it, he sold something that wasn't his. You can't sell something. The basic rule of selling is you have to own it, otherwise it's not a sale. That's Rabbi Yochanan's opinion, because he owes the Kenyan paris that the father had, and it is Kenyan guf. No, the lokech acquires it at the time of death of the father. If the son sold it, the lokech doesn't get until the father dies. But when the father dies, lokech gets it. No difference if the son didn't die yet till the father died. That it came into the hands of the son at the death of the father. Or if the son died before the father, they never got it at all. Still lokech gets it. Why? How did the son sell it? The son never got it. He died before the father. How did he sell it? No. This that the father had possession of it in terms of getting the payers, that means he didn't really own the go. That means when the father gave it to the son at death, he really says, you own it right now. You own it right now, but you can't use it. You can't get the payers until I die. That's what he was saying. So when the son sold it, he really sold. He owned it. So the son's sale is valid even if he died before the father and he never actually took possession, but he got possession before because the kinyan of Paris that the father had is not kinyan of Guf. It's like the son owned it. Va'anan hashta, and now according to us, Bain Rabbi Yirmiyah Barab, Bain Rabbi Yirmiyah who gave it to Shmuel the son. Bain Rabbi Yehuda, and even according to Rabbi Yehuda who says what? That it goes. Who shows that it should go to the father because the father inherits the wife. They all like Rav Shimon Lakish feel. They both like Rav Shimon. And here Rashi tells us they both all like Rav Shlokish feel. And why? Because we pass on Allah in 3 cases in Shas. We pass on like Rav Shlokish against his brother-in-law Rabbi Yochanan, and this is one of them. This and he quotes the other two. So they hold like Rav Shimon Lakish. But come Rav Yirmiyah said. If you would say King Persis Kagin, and therefore the ownership that the father had in this, because the father Shmuel's father, Shmuel's father Rav Abba was entitled to use the payers in the simlug of his wife. That would be Shmuel's mother. If it's going guftami, Kimayis Av. If the father died first, Amayis Ben. The son's death preceded that of the father. Why does Lokech get it? When he sold it, he sold something that wasn't his, right? So if you say like Rabbi Yochanan Ken versus Ken when the father died and the son died before that, why does Lokech get it? Because he sold something that wasn't his. The son can't sell it. If it wasn't this, if the father had effectively like a kinyan of the guf, like Rishlakish, and therefore the father's ownership in the case of Shmuel Bar Abba's father, he really owned the fact that he could eat the payers like a kinyan of guf, and therefore the mother was not entitled to write it over, to give it over, or sell it, to give it whatever's a gift to the son, because the father had rights in it, and therefore that's what he argued, and he said that's what the Rav Yirmiyah said gave it to the son. He was wrong, right? That he said, but Rav Yehuda said no, I'm saying it wrong. He goes, I'm sorry, just the opposite way around. The king of Paris that the father had in the Paris is not the king of Guft. I mean, therefore, when the mother gave it to her son Shmuel to take place at death. It was a good gift. It was like he sold it to him. It was a good gift because the kinyan Paris that the father had is lavke kinyan gufnami. Rabbi Yochanan would say it's kinyan gufnami, but it's mamshke. We hold like Rish Lakish lavke kinyan gufnami. The father's rights in the mother's nichsim malug did not give him a real kinyan in it, and therefore it should be a good sale. I really come to say, told Rabbi Yehuda that svara. Went back to Rabbi Yehuda. Amalu hachiyam Shmuel. Shmuel says zuein adamas for saying that case is not like our Mishnah. That case that you're bringing down with the father and the son gave it to the father after death, and all this is not like our Mishnah. Our Mishnah is talking about a different case, meaning our Mishnah that we're talking about here of the case of Shmuel or the case of Shmuel Bar Abba, it's not like the case of the Mishnah over there. Why is it not like that? My time. So the Gemara says we're at the first little wide lines of the Gemara on Pechem face. If you would say the other way around, right, that the case in the Mishnah there was what? If we're a son, if a son gave his nechasim to his father, and he says, after I die, Pop, you're going to get it. The son gave it to the father, was giving it to the father, and the father sold it while the son was alive. Right? If you learn it that way. And what does Rashi say? Take a look at Rashi. Rashi is about a third of the way down on the page. So the father sold it while the son was alive, right? While the son was alive. And then the father died while the son was still alive. And Rish Lakish would say, oh, you know what? The Lokech gets it. If the father sold it, then you can see King Paris is saying, because the son has the rights in it. The son gave it to the father for after he died. The son has Kinyan of Paris. And if you say that the father sold it, and you say the father sold it, and you would say that the gets it. So you say, oh, good, because the Kinyan of Paris that the son had in it, he had given it to the father, but the Kinyan Paris is Lavka Kinyan of Tummy, and you tell me that Lokech gets it, that would be a proof. Aval Hashta, again, I'm going on in Rashi. Maybe the reason why Lokech gets it over, even though the son got it, Mishum the Royal Yosho, like the Gemara says, Elahashta Diktani back in the Gemara, 3 lines from the third of the wide lines. Elahashta Diktani Akostam Chasav, no, Mishum the Royal Yosho. He's going to inherit him anyway. When he gives it to him, it's to his son. What do you mean give it to his son? You're going to get inherited anyway. So it's different because there it's like the son owns it already. Maybe there it's different. That's why the son sale is a good sale. Back in Rashi, maybe normally Kinyan Pershas Kinyan Guf like Rabbi Yochanan. But but over here, the father definitely gave it to the son because otherwise he should have the rights to sell it. He would have inherited him anyway after the father died. Rav Shmuel Barabba, lawyer royal Yoshazima. Rav Shmuel was not. You don't inherit your mother. A father, a husband inherits his wife, not the children. Children don't inherit unless if there's no father, then it's different. Then it can go to the children, it can go to her family. Then it's different. But if there's a father, the father inherits a Bal Yoshas Ishto. So maybe it's different. No, Mishum Dural Yoshu. Abai said, no, that doesn't make any difference. Atu Bra Yorasaba Abalerisba. You think only a son inherits a father doesn't inherit a son? If a father can inherit a son too, let's say there's no children, it goes to the father. And then if there's no father, it goes down to his children. So Ella, why did the father give this to his son? Because he wanted to give it to this son, not to the other sons. And there's a reason for it over here. So there's Ella, he just wanted to give it away. Rashi tells us, Al Karchach, Rashi now is about a third from the bottom of the page. El Al Karchach brought a custom of Lavua, he's got children, right? He's got children. Behind the custom of Lavua, the reason in this case with the son, just like the father, it says he wanted to. The reason why the son wanted to give the stuff to his father in this last case is because he didn't want to give it to his children. And the same thing with the father who gave the stuff to this particular sons because he didn't want to give it to the other sons. So there's a reason for it. And therefore, there's no difference between a father giving to a son or son giving to his father in terms of, there's a difference of Yerusha. They're both Yarush. Rashi says, Ela brought the custom the reason why his son gave the stuff to his father. It's also Roy Roshim. It's like he has kids, and he didn't want to give it to his kids. He didn't like his kids. He wanted to give his father. Wanted to get rid of it. He didn't want to give it to his kids. Right? If the Lokech bought it from the father, so therefore, when the father sold it, it was a good sale. Why? Because the king of the parish is lafka king of Uftami. So you can't tell the case is different. Elamai and Adomus was saying it back in the Gemara, 4 lines from the bottom of the page. When he says over here, when they brought this case before of Yehuda, again, the proof seemed to be like Rav who gave it to Shmuel Barabba's son, because he said the kinyan apeiros that the father had in the Nechsim Belug is not kinyan Guftami, and therefore the mother was entitled to give it to her son after she died. He was entitled to do that because the father didn't really own it, right? So why isn't that good for? So what does Rabbi Yehuda who said no? It goes to the husband. Mayim Delish was saying Mishim Takanas Usha, because in Usha they made a takana. In Usha, when the son was there, they made a special takana, a special ruling. Rabbi Yossi, if a woman sold while her husband was alive, and she died, what's the reason for that? Rashi says, the last Rashi on the page says, Rabbi Yehuda will say, even though normally, right, normally again, the mother owns the nechsim belug. The father, her husband, is entitled to use them. Normally, we would say that doesn't mean he has a kinyan guf, and she could do with it what she wants. She could say, I'm giving it to somebody else after death, right? Lav kinyan dami, right? The afagav the alma lav kinyan guf dami. Baal ben ishto almur rabban l'shibude mishum eva b'avikokech rishom, right? So what do we mean by that? That even the b'yam lav kinyan guf dami, even though normally it's not a kinyan guf dami, but over here, a husband, the rabbanan gave a special power to the husband. At B'nechse Ishto, the Rabbanan gave a special obligation so that they should to enhance their relationship with the husband and wife, and therefore he has the first dibs on it. That's a special case that he has dibs on it. So he said, and therefore, that's his reasoning over here. Yes, normally the king passes lafka king of guftami, and therefore Rav Yirmiyah would have been right under those conditions. And therefore the husband doesn't really own it, and she could give it to her son. But over here, this is different with a husband and different a father giving it to his son. In which case, over there, you say a father giving it to his son after death, and the son sold it. The son's sale is a good sale, even if the son died before the father, because Kinyan Paris, the Kinyan Paris that the father had in the Nechasim is not Kinyan Guf. But over here with a husband and a wife, it's different because the Chachamim gave the husband a stronger ownership in the Nechsei Malug to enhance their relationship. We see the same thing over here in the following brisa that they hold up at the cut of Usha. This is like this. Just let's say two witnesses come along, number one and number two, and they testify that this particular person divorced his wife, but he gave her the ksuba. He gave her the ksuba, right? We're testifying he divorced his wife and he gave her the ksuba. The hare titachtav, and the fact is she's still living with him. And she's serving him, they're living together. The nimsu zomamin, and it turns out that the Edom were liars. So what did the Edom owe now the woman? They were trying to cause her to lose her ksuba. They said, you've been paid already. So if they turn out zomamin, what do you say about that? The nimsu zomamin. Ain't omim yishalmu kol ksubasa. You know, so should they pay? Let's say the ksuba was $200. Do you say, well, they owe her the $200? No. Ela tova sanok. Tova sanok, you only get the goodwill of the ksuba. What does that mean? Ezo tova sanok, what's considered a goodwill? Ksubasa. Omim kaman amatzlikin ksuba shalzu shim nesam skarsha. Let's say, what are the chances that a woman's going to collect her ksuba? If he divorces her or she's widowed, she's going to get her $200. Let's say she dies first. He doesn't have to pay. He inherits her. He inherits the ksuba. So there's a certain goodwill. Call it a future value, right? It's an option. Buy this option. Would you like to get this ksuba to the woman? How much would you pay for that? It's not worth $200 because maybe she won't collect. She'll only collect if he dies or divorces her. But let's say she dies first, she'll collect nothing. So what would you pay for that? $40, $20, whatever you pay. That's the tovas or not. If you don't hold the Tekanas Usha, why do you say the husband would inherit her? She could sell it. She could sell it she could take her ksuba. If you say the husband is not entitled to if you don't have the Tekanas Usha, why do you say her husband's going to inherit her? She could sell her ksuba entirely. What are you talking about? We're talking about nechsei malug, something that she really owns, that she got an inheritance, let's say, after they got married. That's really hers. The nechsei tzam barzel was written into the ksuba. The ksuba belongs to the husband, and he's responsible to make good on. He has to take care of her. If she brought assets into it, she's responsible to pay the full value of them. They went down. But nechsei tzam barzel, b'ksubasa, Rashi says, b'ksubasa halfway down in the dunya, shechlo b'shemam beis aviyah. Because he's responsible. If they went down, he has to make good on it. They must see her low. He may, it said, she can't sell that stuff. That stuff's written into the ksuba. She has no rights to sell that. The husband takes full responsibility both for losses and for gains, and he has to make good on it. If it was worth, let's say, $1 million when she went into the marriage, she owes her $1 million, and she's not entitled to do anything with that. She can't sell that. And Nechsei Malug is different. She owns that. So therefore, there's no proof from this case. In other words, it seemed to be a good proof because we say over here that the Edom Zoma don't have to pay the whole amount. Why? Because maybe she'll collect the ksuba, maybe she won't. Now, why won't she collect the ksuba? Because maybe she'll die. Yes, but if you say that you don't have the Tekanas Usha, why do you say that her husband, maybe she'll die and the husband will inherit her? She can sell the ksuba. She can only sell nechsei malug. She can't sell tzon barzel. So therefore, there's no proof from that case. All right, we'll pick it up here tomorrow, Mr. Shem, from Homer Abaya. Have a good day.